A lot of manufacturing has occurred in Southeast Asia over the past 10, 15 years, but we're seeing a lot more onshoring efforts, and Trina's kind of leading the way there as well. So we're really excited about our Wilmer facility, and we think that's going to be a big value for EPCs and developers to get the domestic content on their projects.
There's been a lot of focus in the industry on hail. The growing risk of the damage to PV modules in particular is higher than ever. More storms with greater intensity and bigger hailstones that cost billions of dollars in damages. Billy Christie is the head of the engineering center at Trinasolar, leading global manufacturer of solar PV modules. Billy, how is Trina handling and mitigating the growing risk of hail damage?
Yeah, so we see a lot of future growth in solar, particularly in utility solar in the Texas area, which unfortunately is a very at high risk of hail. So we want to stay ahead of the market, make sure we're getting our customers the products they need. And so we recently released this new product. It's an NE19 module. It uses the same cutting edge technology we use in our current NEG19 series, which has been very successful on the C&I and utility side. What we did was we increased the front glass to 3.2 millimeter over its kind of standard 2 millimeter counterpart.
Yeah.
And we're using a clear backsheet on the back. A lot of companies are using kind of thicker glass in the front and thicker glass in the back, but that really jacks up the module weight, makes it difficult to install, and just makes it hard on people in the field. So our module is actually a little lighter than our standard 2 millimeter front, 2 millimeter back, but significantly stronger against hail. So we work with RETC and PVEL on testing and have successful testing up to 65 millimeter hailstones. So we think it's going to be a really good product in Texas, and as the industry plans to grow there quite a bit, we want to be, in lockstep with the industry. So
65 millimeters. What's that roughly referent to?
That's a little bigger than a billiard ball, actually.
A billiard ball.
So yes.
Wow.
So quite large.
That's impressive. We used to talk about how they were tested with essentially golf ball size balls that were shot down at 5 meters.
Yep.
And
so the IEC standard is kind of minimal, but for a long time it was successful because there wasn't really a hail problem.
Yeah.
Now that we're moving more into Texas, there's more growth there. There's a lot of bad publicity in the industry for kind of entire utility scale solar plants getting knocked out. So it's more and more important, and mitigating it on the module side is one thing we do. On the tracker side, you also really need a high angle of stow.
Right.
And so we worked really closely with BDE Americas, who are kind of leading academics and third-party engineers on the hail side, to kind of analyze our products, both our hail-resistant product and our non-hail-resistant product, and what the expected financial losses would look like for a high hail zone. And we see that our module with the correct hail stow on the tracker really reduces the expected annual loss due to hail events by quite a bit in these high hail zones.
what is the correct hail stow?
Right now, the industry standard is roughly 60 degrees,
60.
but you want it really as high as you can get.
Right.
So some of the leaders in the industry are going to 70 and 75 degrees, and that's even better.
And insurance companies are increasingly come out with requirements to meet insurance standards. So is there a hail stow time requirement now?
A lot of them are requiring automation at this point.
Right.
Some companies still have kind of manual hail stow, so you're not doing it in the field, but remotely you're stowing the modules when you see a hail event coming. BDE also works with tracker companies to kind of get the meteorological data they need to automate their hail stow, and that's fairly important.
So a lot of these are basically responding to meteorological signals and stowing in advance,
Correct.
which is in many ways something that is proactively being done. It's a degradation in the overall yield on the plant.
Correct.
But it's the right thing to do to mitigate
Exactly. It'll save the plant over the long term and save a lot of financial costs. You don't want to be rolling trucks out to replace modules, and we don't want any modules going into the landfills. So it's very important for me.
So on the innovation front, one of the things that I'm really impressed by and surprised to see here in the booth is your new 2,000 volt module prototype. I remember when we were just introducing the 1,000 volt standard output voltage. Tell me more about this prototype. In particular, I'm curious to understand, where are we right now with infrastructure and the BOS required to support a module at 2,000 volts?
Yeah, so we're really excited about it, but it is still very early stage. We developed the prototype to kind of do some LCOE analysis and see if the market's ready to kind of make the switch to 2,000 volt. But similar from the jump from 1,000 volt to 1,500, the benefits are kind of reduced BOS costs, better efficiency, and so we expect to see the same on the 2,000 volt side. Right now, we do have a couple inverter companies that have 2,000 volt prototypes as well, and even just at the show, we're seeing more and more kind of MLPEs, connectors that are rated for 2,000 volts. So I think the infrastructure is coming along quite quickly. That said, we don't have any plans to kind of release this commercially in the very near future, but we are working with some utilities looking for pilot projects to get these in the ground and start understanding the value of 2,000
What do you
volts.
expect to be the critical milestones, both from a developer side and the utility side, to really implement a 2,000 volt standard?
Yeah, I think we can kind of take lessons we learned from the jump to, from 1,000 to 1,500. And so there's going to have to be a good amount of testing. The codes and standards are going to have to be updated to allow for it. And, you're also going to need to be involved in that. And then, of course, the infrastructure needs to be there. It's not just the modules and inverters, but it's all the way down the line. Even trackers, one of the benefits of moving to 2,000 volts is longer tracker strings. But the trackers need to kind of extend their maximum string length and their maximum length to kind of get the benefit from that. So it's kind of the whole industry has to get in lockstep. But again, one of the benefits Trina has is having our own modules and our own tracker, so we can kind of progress at the right speed.
Perfect. So there's a lot of long-term vision with Trina, being one of the first domestic manufacturers, being one of the largest providers of solar products in the world. What about a near-term forecast? I'd really be curious to know, what do you think is going to be a big differentiator for solar EPCs and developers in the coming years? Any particular trends that you guys are tracking, pardon the pun, and where do you think the industry's heading?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned supply chain, you mentioned domestic manufacturing. I think that's really important. Policy is ever changing, and it's really difficult to stay ahead unless you're very diversified. So, a lot of manufacturing has occurred in Southeast Asia over the past 10, 15 years, but we're seeing a lot more onshoring efforts, and Trina's kind of leading the way there as well. So we're really excited about our Wilmer facility, and we think that's going to be a big value for EPCs and developers to get the domestic content on their projects. On top of that, we also are really excited about our N-type products. We're coming out with a new 21 series N-type TopCon, one of, I think, 4 modules that is a top performer across all of PVEL's testing on the 2024 scorecard. So we think that's going to be a big hit in the utility market, and again, really excited about that module coming to the market in Q1 of 2025. On top of that, companies buy modules, but they also buy trackers, they buy storage. Trina wants to be a leader across the whole kind of solution aspect of the business. We don't want to just give you the kind of materials. We want to put it all together for you and reduce the pain in project management, fulfilling these projects, O&M on the later stages, and even contracting. So Trina wants to be the company that's giving you the tracker, the module, and the solar, and making it as easy as possible to get these in the ground.
Awesome.